Hey!
Wow, good morning.
Look at this. So, welcome to CarYada, first episode of 2024.
24.
Actually,
Yeah.
this is the first episode ever where you and I are just sitting beside each other
That's true.
in a studio.
Yes.
With a fake background that looks like we're in the on the ferry.
Yes, here we are. And we've got our monitor down here. So if you see us gazing down here,
yeah,
that's what
at
we're
some
doing.
point we'll probably move I do have actually a monitor thing up there that we could
we could put it up behind there and we could
Anyway,
okay.
welcome. I'm Dan Rosenberg. He's Raffi Manassian. He's a car expert. I just like cars. And if you've never seen this show before, shame on you. What we do is we talk about cars.
And it's groundbreaking information.
We talk about anything car related. That's pretty much it. Like, it's two guys that just talk cars. You can comment. Today's show is not, we have a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm going to go to services. My mom went to services today, which is fine. She can watch the rerun. Hi, Mom. She's watching the rerun, I'm sure. And our good friend Ray Pepper is out moving cars. So he may pop in. He's a regular. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
And if you want to ask any questions during the show, what you do is you just post your questions in the comments, and then we'll see them on the monitor down here. So we'll have to look down. And then you were right. We should have moved this up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little higher up.
We'll do it next time. So
these are all technical details.
Yes. Now, we do a thing where we like to stump Raffi. That's one of our big things. And a few weeks ago at our local Cars and Coffee group, I was given a box full of just emblems and other various car items. And I have a bag here.
Okay.
That I know what these are. But then there's some. Okay, I'll start with an easy one. This is how we're going to start the show off today. First, let me play the Stump Raffi, because why not, right?
And now it's time to Stump Raffi.
We're back.
All right.
So this is a very easy one. Raffi, what's this?
Oh, that's the Automobile Club of America. But that is what they used to do was you'd mount these on your grill, or you'd mount them on a plate that
grill.
Yes, exactly. That would go down and attach to the bumper. But you put them on your car so that it would identify to other vehicles passing by that if your vehicle was stranded, you had that extra protection. You joined the club, and they offered all kinds of things like paper maps. Remember maps that would unfold?
Triptychs.
Yes. So paper maps, trip advising. They would give you lists. They would publish a list in a little booklet of places that were safe to stay overnight in hotels and motels.
So now they have stickers.
Yes, now they have.
They gave up on nice. And what's cool is we had not one but two.
Yeah, now this
one's from Michigan.
This one's a little more recent. Oftentimes with this type, they would tack them in with a little nail here like this. This is a more recent one because it has kind of a printed feel. This is probably an earlier one. This one might be embossed. That one might be from the 50s.
So this one has a price sticker of $5.
$5.
This one's only 50 cents.
50 cents. There you go. All
right. So I'll start off with two easy ones.
AAA.
Oh, this one's easy too.
Okay,
that little sucker. There you go.
Ah, yes. Renault. Renault is a French company, and not many people know this, but Renault is partnered with Nissan. And Renault, Nissan together, I think I'd have to check again because these numbers often change. Fourth largest automobile manufacturer in the world, Renault, Nissan.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they're French and Japanese.
Well, yes, now they are.
No, this could be from a lot of different things.
Ah, yes.
Special Deluxe.
This is the Special Deluxe. not not just the deluxe or the special. It's special deluxe. Well, this would be nice as a little, like a little lapel pin.
It would be.
And special deluxe, I think, mostly went on American cars. You would not find special deluxe on European or Japanese cars. And this is most likely a post-war emblem because it has cut off emblem posts that would mount through holes in the fender, and then you'd attach these little gripping clips that go on the back and hold it onto the fender. This is probably from I'll go 50, maybe even 49 to 53 for the era on this.
All right. This one, I have no idea what it is. This one's kind of cool.
Let's see what that is.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what's at the top. If it's a W or an M.
That's really so. This looks like, now this is plastic. So this is vacuum metallized over plastic. It's not metal, and then it's got an emblem, clear plastic molded emblem with gold and translucent red on it. This is either, I would guess that it's Mercury because of the M, because I don't think it's a W, because that doesn't quite look right. But my guess is this is a Mercury.
All right.
And it would be an early 60s, maybe mid up to mid 60s. And it could be Mercury Montego.
Well, here's what's cool that I found out. Watch
Oh,
this.
yeah, you're gonna put
you can take your phone, take a picture of something.
Yeah.
And
then you can search it.
It'll search for it.
And
there it is.
And it is?
It's a Mercury, new old stock Mercury.
Look at that.
Horn emblem.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's an M horn emblem.
There you go. And does it say the era?
1954.
Oh, that early.
Yeah, that's from 54.
Okay.
That one's a little different than ours.
Yeah, that is a little different.
This one has a little star on it.
Later series, maybe. There you go.
But Google Glass is an amazing thing. Google Lens, I mean. By the way, somebody just texted me, do you want to play tennis tomorrow? And it's a number I don't recognize. So I think they got the wrong number. And part of me wants to respond. And say, I'd love to.
Yes.
Should I make a tennis date with this person?
Yes. Send it back and say, say yes, but remember, it's your turn to buy lunch.
I should say that. All right, we're going to do that while we're playing.
All right.
Now we've got this beautiful thing. I know this is from a hood, I'm guessing.
Oh, wow. This is a difficult one. So this is a die molded, stamped or compressed. Oftentimes they do these out of thin sheet steel, and it has crest information here. It looks like it's an American car. So I'll go with American car. It looks like it's something along the lines of either Oldsmobile. It's not Buick, but I'll go Oldsmobile with this, possibly. But that's a tough one.
Let's try it. Let's see.
And that looks pre-war to me, so it might be late 30s.
Now, when you say pre-war, you're talking
Second World War.
Second World War.
So before 1942, 43.
All right. It is a Mercury hood emblem.
It is a Mercury.
It is a Mercury.
But it's an earlier one.
1949 to 50.
Okay.
Says.
All right.
And it used to be colored. Look at the colors that used to be on. This used to be blue.
Ah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Mercury.
Mercury.
All right. A lot of Mercury here so far.
The Google is amazing. That you can just... Now, some of these are super easy. A Windsor Deluxe.
That's from a Chrysler.
Chrysler Windsor.
Yes. Chrysler built the Windsor. The Windsor was a... here you go. I'll see that. Was a mid-range model. It was below the New Yorker. And I had a 49 Windsor convertible. Great little car.
Yeah.
So that's Chrysler. This is probably 53, 54.
All right. By the way, we're not really on the ferry.
Just in case you couldn't see.
Our background, I had a whole idea for a background where we'd have a TV screen behind us.
Mm.
And you don't realize how small a space. Like, yeah, we're gonna do this show a little different than we've ever done it before. We're gonna shoot this every week live, but then we're also gonna do some stuff in the field. Like Monday, we're gonna go to an old barn full of cars, and some old like pre-World War I cars.
Yeah, there's some really old cars.
A 1912 Dodge.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That's like the first Dodge almost.
Yeah, what's astonishing about that is that's a car that's over a century old. Think about that.
Yeah, it's 114 years old.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It's amazing to think that car still has the engine up front, 4 wheels, a rear drive axle, and runs on gasoline.
Yeah,
114 years.
Yeah,
not many products still represent what they were 100 years ago.
Toilet paper.
There you
Close.
go. That is only you could go there.
Well, I just saw a Seinfeld episode where George said he was dating a girl. He goes, "I told you, in our lifetime, toilet paper's never changed." And Jerry goes, "What are you talking about? There's different thickness, different colors, different scents. Because you're not helping here." So, also, it's amazing to think that 2012 is 14 years ago.
Yes, which doesn't,
or 12 years.
12 years ago, which doesn't seem like it was a long time ago, but 2012 seems like, wow, that was just a couple of years ago. Yeah, decades move quickly, especially as you get older. Same thing with cars.
By the way, Adam Jones, hello, Adam. He says, "Good morning, fellas. Long time no see. Likes the new setup."
Oh, there you go.
He also says that if you're really on the ferry, you'd be one of the lucky ones, given all the problems the ferry system's been having lately.
Yes, that's very true.
And how empty would it be? What's funny is, I think this is the picture.
That's like during COVID when they had the cafeteria situation there, but they weren't allowed to serve any food.
Well, what was funny is I did a call one time. I'm on a board of the local theater, and I did a call, and I used this background, and somebody's like, "You're on the ferry?" I'm like, "No, I'm quarantined like the rest of us." There's this one.
All right.
Just says Custom V.
Okay.
What do you think that is?
So this is probably a Ford product. The V was usually used with American cars for V8 because American cars developed and popularized the flathead V8, the Fords, and then the overhead valve V8 with General Motors vehicles. Custom was usually assigned to a higher trim level vehicle, so you can get a standard vehicle, and then they would put different trim elements on it, options that would move it up to the custom level. And that is a die-cast piece. You can see because they used Zamac, which is Zamac is the die-cast slurry that goes into the tool, and then what happens is because Zamac is basically pot metal, you'll get little marks like that come through the plating.
Oh,
and they're pits.
I'm familiar with pits. I've heard of pits.
So I'm gonna put this in the 50s.
All right.
And I'm gonna say, since we got a Mercury theme going, I'll go with Mercury as well.
It might match this one even.
It could. Yeah. There you go.
All right. So let me take a picture of it.
All right.
And let's see what it says. Here we go. There's no exact match.
Oh, interesting. Could be a rare piece. Hard to find.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? I did it at a weird angle.
Try a different angle for it.
Let me try it differently here because it was getting some weird sizing. Custom V.
And by the way, for those of you out there, if you have an emblem or a logo that you'd like us to take a look at, even a newer one, we'll give it a try. Newer emblems and logos are done differently now on cars. We used to do them out of stamped metal and lots of metal, heavy stuff on cars. Now, most emblems are made with plastic injection molding, and they're then electroplated to give it the plated finish. Sometimes electro gold plated, though not real gold, and then they're adhesive mounted to the car. This makes them a little easier to get off the car and then new ones can be put back on after an accident. But they're lighter weight and cheaper.
Cheaper. Now, this is not an emblem, and this looks like it might just be aftermarket.
That is an aftermarket gauge cluster, probably.
Cylinder head temp and oil PSI.
Now, cylinder head temp, that's that's a very unusual gauge that you would have in a standard car. That would probably be suited to more of a high-performance car or a drag car where you want to be mindful of the cylinder head temperature.
This one, the price tag on it, $22.50.
Yeah, because it's a pretty obscure set of gauges. You wouldn't necessarily want to know what the cylinder head temperature is in your Honda Accord, for example. But that's an unusual set of gauges. And these are VDO gauges.
Oh, VDO.
Yes, they're quite well
You have to
known.
know what VDO. Oh, I'm leaning the wrong way. The next thing we have, I have no idea what that is.
All right.
There you go.
Oh.
Do you have any idea?
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, so this is an injection molded clear plastic emblem, and I'm going to say this is.
Is that a boat?
It's Plymouth. It is a boat. I'm gonna call it Plymouth.
Oh,
I think it's Plymouth. Take a photo of that and see.
Plymouth Rock.
Yeah, I think that's a Plymouth emblem.
All right.
But a lot of Rover used a boat as well. Rover, the UK or British car company,
thinks it's a coin holder. Yeah, it's all coming up coin holders. Okay.
Coin holders.
Google Lens is not perfect, especially when you have something that's very rare and you don't know what it is. This, by the way, one of our friends in the Cars and Coffee group brought this box in we meet on Friday mornings at a local grocery store. There's like a nice meeting area upstairs. And he just brings in this big box full of stuff, and Raffi was not there. And we're all like,
so upset.
Like, how do we? So I grabbed some stuff that I was interested in, and that's separate in this special bag. But then this other box was just random things that we were like, well, can Raffi figure out what it is?
There's a lot of stuff in there, huh?
Yeah,
we'll have to research this. I think this is Plymouth.
This one's really cool looking. I know it's hard to show there. There you go.
Oh, that's nice.
By the way, this makes for horrible audio. If you're listening to the show, you have to go back and watch it on YouTube or Twitter.
Oh, that's right, because there's lots of visuals.
Lots of visuals in this episode.
So now this one's sort of a giveaway because this is Mercury. This goes to a Mercury, and I'm going to say this.
Oh yeah, it looks like that.
Yes, it looks very similar to that. So I'm going to say this is Mercury from it's probably late 50s, early 60s, maybe mid 50s as well. But this looks like and this look at the detail on this. I'm going to just take this apart here. So this screw comes off the back. If you can see,
he's unscrewing for people listening at home.
So that nut comes off the back, and this piece then is mounted to the back of the probably kind of an interior piece. It could also be an exterior piece, like the end cap of the top of a tail light, and then that gets fastened on the back. There's a lock washer, and then it bottoms out against the steel, and it holds it in position. Sometimes they had a grommet that went around it, but look at the complexity of the shape here. The amount of time and effort it took to make and mold this. And this is just one of many parts on an American car. Now we don't do this type of thing. This was molded by hand and then tooled by hand by American laborers that were skilled in this. And there's maybe a handful of people that know how to do that today. Now it's all done by computers and CAD.
We'll take a picture of this one too. I mean,
mid to late 50s Mercury.
There it is.
Yeah.
Instrument panel medallion for 1954 Mercury.
There you go.
$50.
$50.
That's what they're asking, at least.
Well, this could be cleaned up a little bit.
That was a new old stock.
You could polish up the chrome a little bit. It's got the chrome is pitted, but you can remove the inside emblem from this, and and then polish the emblem part up. The emblem's actually in really good shape. You don't normally see these emblems in such good shape because they tend to get crazed. That is a very rare, that's a hard to find part right there.
That's a Chrysler. That I know.
What was your first clue?
I immediately know it's Chrysler. I'm very good with reading. I find my reading skills. I had good comprehension, good reading comprehension. I did okay in school on the reading part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this got the logo that they brought back that logo.
Yes. That's their classic.
Their old.
Well, what's interesting about this one is that they want to make sure that you know it's a Chrysler. They actually say Chrysler here and Chrysler there. So it's twice on the emblem here. This went on the back of the car, and not the front, but a similar one went on the front with a little bit of V to it, a little bend to it.
What car is it from, do you think?
Well, it probably went on everything from the New Yorker to the lower line cars. This is, I think, a universal badging that they put on all the cars, but this is probably, I'll say, late 40s, like 47 to 49.
So post-war.
It is post-war, I think. But it's a similar one to the pre-war one. What I don't know is if they changed it between the early 40s and late 40s. So it could be a 41, 42 as well as a post-war.
So there's the V version.
Yes.
And they're all V version. Oh, wait. Yeah, they're all the V version.
Yeah, so this usually goes on the back.
There it is, 1940s trunk emblem.
Yeah. That could also be the one that goes on the back of a barrel back Chrysler Woody, which is a very rare car.
If you look at what it looked like when it was painted.
Yeah.
And then 1948 Chrysler Town and Country sedan emblem.
Yeah. And they would have continued that, the 47, 48, 49 would have been that style. And then in 50, they changed to the more modern one.
Look at this big one. Look at that big sucker. That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's Chrysler. That's a Lincoln, isn't
it? It looks like it's a Ford product emblem, but look at the weight of this thing.
Yeah.
And this is just one piece of trim that's on a car. And again, this has two parts. It has the molded plastic part that's inside here, and that goes inside the die cast. And the chrome on this is actually in beautiful condition. This is a very nice emblem. It's not rare. This is probably, I'm going to say, 63 to 66, maybe 67. Maybe even, this might be 65 to 68. And this looks like it's obviously an American emblem, but it could be Ford, and it could also be Mercury. I don't think it's Lincoln, but go ahead and here, I'll hold it up. You can take a picture of that.
Let's find out.
If that comes out.
I gotta get it over.
There's
too much background. It's so big.
All right. And we'll see what that one comes back at.
It only got my arm. Hold on.
Oh, it's going to tell you what your arm is. Oh, there it is.
Oldsmobile.
Oh, it is Oldsmobile.
It's an Oldsmobile from an Olds 98 Fender from a 62.
62.
Yeah, it's Olds.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I would not have guessed.
Or 63 98 front fender.
For the front fender. Wow.
Yeah, here it is on.
Yeah.
That's
and it goes on the front fender of an Olds. So we had right era, but wrong manufacturer. Yeah, so I picked that because the Ford Fairlane, if you look at a Fairlane emblem, is very similar to this. Ford Fairlane emblem is very similar. But that's, that's a car that, even though this is beautiful, it would be impossible to, like, if you were looking for this and you had an Oldsmobile, there's no way you could find it. And yet here it is.
I know.
In beautiful shape. All you have to do is clean it up and mount it on your car.
Yeah.
It's $5.
$5. Well, that's not what I'm going to put on eBay for. All right, we're gonna do one more of these.
We got to fund the show with $5
We're
envelopes.
25 minutes in. As Adam said, this is a marathon. Stump the Raffi. Now, this is our first show back. We didn't prepare a whole lot. We never really do.
Well, we really don't. We just try and kind of wing it
we want
on car stuff.
And we want you, the people,
yes,
to reach out to us.
Yeah, and I know I just got a text from some. Okay, so this one says, "This is fun, but hard to watch when you're just listening."
Yeah, you can't just listen.
Okay.
This is from a 1980s TV show called Mr. Belvedere, based in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
Was it?
Yeah, with Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
And he worked at Three River Stadium.
Okay.
He did like local sports in Pittsburgh, but he lived in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, where I grew up.
So this is the Belvedere model was Plymouth's higher end model, higher than the Savoy, I believe. And the Belvedere had two-tone paint and cloth and vinyl interior. And this is the fender emblem. Probably went on the front fender directly after the front door. And there were two on the car. And you can see that, like a lot of these, the mounting clips have broken off. So
I think somebody might have cut them off, because a lot of these have, like, people want to mount them on a piece of wood.
Yeah, and put them like trophy things or something. But this is in good shape, but you would never restore this because it doesn't have the clips. Now, what people do nowadays is they'll grind the clips down flat, and then they'll put the 3M adhesive on key points of this, and then they'll just stick it on.
Slap it on.
Yeah.
All right, here's
50s, probably 52 to 54, maybe even a little earlier.
I'll believe you on that.
No, I can guarantee it.
And here's
because I had a 53.
Here's this one.
Oh, Kaiser.
It's Kaiser.
Yeah. Let's get a Kaiser and surpriser. Kaiser from Kaiser Steel, post-war, decided they were going to manufacture automobiles. Made sense. They're making steel. They might as well make cars. So they built cars probably for about 7-8 years, and they built some really interesting and exciting cars. But because they were competing with the big three, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, it was hard for them to be competitive financially. But this is from a Kaiser, and it's from a late 40s to early 50s Kaiser.
Now, the Kaiser of Kaiser Permanente, it's the same. Didn't that come from them? That was the healthcare company?
Family, yes. Yeah, they were a wealthy family.
Yeah.
Kaiser family was very, very wealthy, and they were involved in many different industries.
Now, Adam points out the Belvedere was a large and sometimes surly English butler model.
Yes. Good one.
Thank
I like
Adam.
that.
Adam wins that one. All right. Well, we went a half hour just looking at different tchotchkes and pieces of Americana and car items. And I was thinking of actually taking some of the ones I grabbed and maybe getting a board.
Yeah, mounting them
all.
Sure. That's always fun.
But also eBay might be fun. You could. I keep disappearing.
Yeah.
I'm leaning in now to get more
that
serious.
means there's something important.
So the thing about cars that I love is the pricing. And we talked about this a little bit when we went on when did we pop on for like the first CarYada we did? Was it October?
I think so. Yeah,
it's been
we
a while.
Remotely.
When
you
were in California still. And EVs have dropped in value because a new Tesla has dropped. Therefore, it's kind of dropped the whole market quite a bit. And I really am leaning. I've had electric cars, I've had 4 of them total. I'm really leaning towards the plug-in hybrid. And I know you think that is the way to go.
That is the model of the future. It's the most economical model of the future. It's the most eco-friendly. It uses the least amount of important resources. It does not put the sort of manufacturing, recycling constraints and pressures on our natural resources as the electric car does. Electric cars go through batteries very quickly, quicker than most people think. And what's really interesting about the electric car model is if you are comparing the ownership dollar value to drive experience, the plug-in hybrid comes out better in almost all categories. They're easy to use. They're easy to maintain. Their internal systems work more intuitively for most mechanics and most shops to be able to service, and they're less expensive to repair when they are damaged.
Yeah. Now, the thing I like about, like, my wife has one. Her vehicle has 17,000 miles on it.
Wow.
13.5 electric. So she only has 3,500 miles on her engine.
Yeah. And that's
amazing, because then you don't need
Right.
oil changes often. So you save money on oil.
Right.
She plugs in every night, so she gets sometimes 35, 40 miles.
Right. And synthetic oils will go 7,500 miles, no problem. Or they'll go up to 2.5, 3 years because they don't break down the same way that typical non-synthetic oils do. So it's either time or miles on oil changes. And they on many of these more closed engines, the technology today, they'll run these engines for 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 miles on the same oil. And then they'll do viscosity tests and friction tests, and they'll measure all the components inside the engine, and they find minimal wear even after 100,000 miles of use.
Wow.
With the same oil. So vehicles that are built around the hybrid model, they still deliver the type of performance and economy that drivers are looking for today. But what I tell many people when they're considering getting an electric car compared to a hybrid, I tell them to take the same amount of money you would have spent on an electric car, which tends to be higher, and instead look at the model for spending the equivalent amount of money in fuel. And what happens is the hybrid car actually exceeds the level of financial investment that you would have to make in an electric car.
It does now.
Yes.
But when the hybrids first came out, I remember Chevy Tahoe had a hybrid.
Yeah.
And I was working at Felix Chevrolet in downtown Los Angeles, corner of Jefferson and Figueroa, across from USC. Look for the big cat. And they had a big cat on the roof, Felix the cat. And they were touting the fact that it got 22 miles per gallon in the city, which was the same as a Camry.
Yeah.
A V6 Camry also got 22 city. But it was like $15,000 more than a regular Tahoe. Right. And the regular Tahoe got 19.
Right.
So you're getting 3 miles per gallon better. And the math just, everybody bought them though. There was a waiting list for them.
Yeah.
The math doesn't calculate unless you put 340,000 miles on the car.
So the best financial model for recovery is to buy a 2-year-old hybrid, because after 2 years, the car may have 20,000, 25,000 miles, which is nothing on a modern car, but they will have experienced 50% drop in value. So a $60,000 car you could go and buy 2 years later for $30,000 to $35,000. You save $30,000 by buying the hybrid instead of buying a brand new electric, and you can buy an awful lot of fuel for $30,000.
Yeah. Now we've got a couple questions in the comments here.
Okay.
Stacy wants to know. Hi, Stacy. Was this the same as the Kaiser Aluminum Company?
Yes.
Because her grandfather worked there in Ohio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Kaiser, again, they had their financial investments in all sorts of different things, and they were great philanthropists as well. They were involved quite a bit in U.S.-based philanthropy and education and things like that. But yes, Kaiser Aluminum, Kaiser Steel, many divisions from
Kaiser
the Kaiser
Fraser
family. Yeah, yes.
It was just over the line in Columbiana County.
There you go.
Like Youngstown, basically.
Yeah.
Adam says he's a big fan of the Ioniq, which is the electric Hyundai.
Yes, and the Ioniq has done a really good job of getting Hyundai's name out there in the electric car category. Hyundai's done very well with electric vehicles in recent years. But the problem with electric vehicles is when the market increases to where you get to the point of a high level of saturation in electric vehicles, then there's pressure on pricing. And that's what we're starting to experience now. Prices have to come down as volume goes up. Otherwise, there just aren't enough people to buy these expensive vehicles. And the people that are going to buy these expensive vehicles have already bought them. So a year, 2 years later, they're not going to want another new one, because this vehicle is working really well. And there's another thing that's important to remember is electric cars and contemporary vehicle technology, they're not easy to learn. So after 2 years of finally getting used to everything, it's not going to be an easy sell to bring somebody into a brand new vehicle that has new technology, my cell phone is like 9 years old now.
Because you don't want to get a new one.
I don't want to get a new one because I know exactly how everything works on that cell phone. Same thing with the laptop, same thing with so with an automobile, it's going to be even more so.
Ray Pepper says, Happy New Year, guys. Vroom just about done and Carvana hanging in there. All right, that's a good update. But he says he's driving a crappy Mini Cooper right now from one auction to the other. Pray I make it.
Well, and I should point out, Ray, nice to see you and Happy New Year. I should point out that they, in the recent survey for reliability, Mini Cooper in the top 10. Mini Cooper in the top 5. Mini Cooper in the top 3.
What?
Yes.
For what year? Like 2023?
No, yeah.
Because I know the ones that Ray's buying at the auction are not the most reliable.
No, they're not. My brother has a Mini Cooper. He's replaced the engine, and I think it has 140,000 miles. To replace the engine after doing 70,000 miles in a modern car is ridiculous.
There was a car I saw at the auction that had 160,000 miles on it. They just replaced the engine at 80,000 miles, which means to me it's due for
another engine.
David Justin, how are you, sir? Great information. Thank you so much for doing the show. Well, we're back. We're here weekly now, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Yep.
And the podcast will go up. This week's podcast will probably be edited to only start in the half-hour mark, because who wants to listen to us talk about things you can't see? That won't make a whole lot of sense. Ray says his is a POS. Ray Pepper, by the way, has a TikTok channel.
Oh, he does?
Radical Ray, I think it's called. And all he does is talk about a piece of shit. He walks through the cars at an auction. He goes, look at this car right here. This was $70,000. Piece of shit. And he goes to the next one. Piece of shit. And he goes, oh, Toyota Tundra. Love them. Very funny stuff. So check him out. Bappy says hello or hi. So hi, Bappy.
Hi, Bappy.
If you have a car question, put it in there. That's what we're here for.
Love to answer them. But back to vehicles and vehicle value. Now, this is important. Dan, you started out the segment talking about vehicle value and pricing. So pricing pressure as volume increases is one of the hardest things to measure and meter out from a manufacturing perspective. With electric cars and the growth of the electric car industry, there's so much new information, new technology, and new tooling that goes into making a new car that they have to amortize all of that into the total price and into the value that they're delivering to the customer. Now, when you're doing a steel-stamped unibody car with an engine that you have sort of off the shelf, like let's just say a Toyota Camry, a non-hybrid, non-electric Toyota Camry, most of your tooling dollars have been amortized. And so you can offer those cars at a very competitive price. Same thing with a Honda Accord, same thing with a Ford Fusion. But as new technology enters that picture, you have to figure out how to do the amortization of that. And one of the hardest things to do now is amortization of software and computer componentry in automobiles, because they just don't have the history of how the amortization models work. And because software and computer electronics are changing so much more so than mechanical technology, we get upgrades and updates sometimes annually on software. So that presents a big problem for the automobile industry. And it's a problem that the computer industry has only barely been able to figure out, but they don't have the massive tooling costs that the automobile industry does.
Yeah. It's the drug industry is similar. They start off a drug as, a fortune. And then as they test it more and they amortize and more people start using it.
Right.
Now that's why, you can get Advil over the counter because that used to be a prescription drug.
Right. And with amortization on the medical model, they're amortizing all the research that they've invested. So the time and the effort, highly paid research physicians to go through and determine whether or not this is going to work, tests, control groups, things like that. So all of that gets put into the R&D expenditures, and then those expenditures have a period of time for the amortization model to flatten out and for profits to come up. This is one of the reasons why we have a patent process with 17 years, allowing you to have exclusive rights to manufacture within 17 years, because oftentimes that's the time period you need to amortize all your investment costs and then recover as profits.
Yeah. Profits.
Profits.
Jake says, welcome back, Clutch Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Jake, it says
somewhere up here.
Somewhere up there, it says CarYada.
So we changed our name because there were too many other people clutching radio.
There were a lot of Clutch. There's a band called Clutch, and they have clutchradio.com, I believe.
Ah, okay.
And there's a couple of different automotive brands using the name Clutch. And I had the CarYada domain name for a couple of years, I think.
Yada, yada,
and it's
yada.
a yada, yada, yada. It's like we're just talking to cars and whatever.
And it does sound like the old days when you start your car and it goes, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, so that's where we came up with this. And we do have a toll-free number, 877-CarYada.
Nice.
Got that?
You can text at that? Or
No, you can call and you
Okay.
get a voicemail. I think we played it last time. It just says we don't have a phone, so don't leave a message. Just send us an email, show@caryada.com.
There you go. So you can send in your email if you have a lengthier question, or you can text into the show, or you can just simply ask a question, and we'll do our best to answer. I can see that we're getting some comments popping up.
KDC Garage
Oh,
says, are computer programmers seeing more employment opportunities in the car industry now than design and mechanical engineering?
yes.
Yeah, I think software is much bigger now.
What's happening is that young people that are going to mechanics training schools, they're actually getting trained on computer technology and computer devices that are being used to analyze what's going on with the car. If you go into a modern service facility, you're going to see not as much evidence of grease on the floor and greasy fingers and that sort of thing, because there's very little grease and oil in modern cars because the engines and everything are so well sealed and well put together. So what you are seeing now is people that are technicians. They're not mechanics really, because very few mechanical things are going on. You still have to do brakes, tires, and some of the other suspension related components that are not necessarily computer related. But more and more vehicle training is being done in computer diagnostics. So absolutely true.
Well, there you go.
And it's also true in other industries, including the medical industry and nursing training, several other engineering, in fact, much more and highly dependent on computer diagnostics.
There you go. Now, if you do have questions about anything car related, literally anything. Now, the question is, do I really want to text this person back? So if you're just joining us early in the show, I got a text that said, how about a tennis match tomorrow? And this is from an unknown phone number.
And I should point out, you do not play tennis.
I've never played tennis. I'm thinking about taking a pickleball.
Oh, there you go.
I'm almost at the right age.
Which
was invented right here on Bainbridge Island.
Bainbridge Island, absolutely.
We do have that claim to fame, pickleball.
Yeah. So I think you should text him back and say yes, but remember, it's your turn to buy lunch.
Or should I say maybe? Are you picking up lunch?
There you go.
Now, what if this is some guy who some girl gave him the wrong number? Just here's my number. She just made up a number.
Well, let's not make gender assumptions.
This is a guy texting a girl. All right. Maybe,
but you got to pick up lunch.
You be picking up.
Do me a favor. Sign at Belvedere.
Should I do an emoji for lunch too, like a
Sure.
little salad?
You have to. No, you have to spell lunch. You
I
don't
spelled
have
lunch.
this
I spelled lunch, but then I
Oh,
put,
there you go.
yeah,
You put the salad
I
in.
put the salad afterwards. All right, we're gonna see what happens. Sender is not on my contact. Now, what if this is someone I know that they're like, Dan, I asked you to play tennis.
Well, they'll clarify that.
All right. How about this time? Should I say
there
this
you
time?
go. There you go. So
there we go.
So
oh wait, they're on an Android. It's green.
Oh, that's all.
I don't know that person. I don't talk to greens.
You don't talk to greens.
I'm a bluist.
So back to cars, we were talking earlier before the show started. One of the things that's happening that's really interesting is we're watching, and we frequently do gas prices.
Yes, which we'll do at the end.
So gas prices have changed a lot this year.
Yes.
There's been quite a lot of fluctuation in fuel pricing. And one of the things that has not been talked about extensively in the market is that people are actually still cutting back on their drive time. During the pandemic, people were obviously not driving to work and not driving to lots of places. So they cultivated new behaviors that minimized their driving. And what's happened that usually it takes about 3 weeks for people to cultivate new behaviors and get familiar with them. But we had 2 years of embedded behaviors. Now, behaviors after 1 year typically become long-term embedded behaviors. So what we've seen is a gradual reduction of driving, and the increase back to old driving rates has not happened. The other thing that's happened is that young people getting their driver's license has also diminished.
My son is going to be 19 next month. He still doesn't have his license. We're going today to get his permit renewed because it's good for a year. It expired, and I looked at it expired in 2021. 3 years ago.
And it's because young people don't need vehicles for personal freedom anymore. You know, we use
Uber.
and I.
They can Uber. We didn't have Uber.
Right. You and I, if we wanted to go emancipate ourselves from our parents, we'd get out in our car and we'd go.
Right.
Young people now today, they can emancipate themselves mentally, intellectually online. So they have access to all sorts of information. Food is available, brought to their door. Entertainment is enormous, also brought to their door. So the convenience factor that used to be afforded to us by use of the vehicle driving around and going to different places in town, that's now being replaced. And so driving behaviors have diminished, which also impacts sales of vehicles. Those have been diminishing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how long that diminishing behavior will continue.
Now, we have a question from Kelly. She says, how important is mileage in purchasing a used car? Lately, I see higher mileage cars, I'm assuming because of rideshare. Yeah, you see a car that's got 180,000 miles. I remember I bought, when I moved back from LA, I bought a 1985 Camaro with T-tops. Yes, I had a mullet. It just showed up when I bought the Camaro. It just boom. But
it's an option.
The car had 120,000 miles on it.
Yes.
And I think I bought it, $2,200. Like they were asking $25,999, and I talked them down to 22. And I thought I got a great deal. And people are like, you bought a car with over 100,000 miles on it? Now this is 1994, and I bought a 9-year-old car.
Right.
Today, I see cars going through the auction, 130, 140, 150,000 that are getting all the money because they just last. 200 is the new 100, I think.
Well, that's true. And the answer to your question is not just rideshare, though that is an important part of it. There are a lot more privately available vehicles that are being used for multiple driving opportunities. If you went years ago to buy a taxi, you'd see a taxi with 300,000 miles. That wouldn't be considered unusual. But a former Uber vehicle might have 100,000 miles on it and more. But that's not the reason specifically why you see higher mile cars. The reason you're seeing higher mile cars these days is because newer cars will just plain and simple achieve 100,000 miles without having significant mechanical problems. So the answer to your question is cars are being driven more and being retained longer for longer periods of time But what is important about that is that a car, as Dan said, a car with 100,000 miles basically has still got another 100,000 miles left in it. I have two cars that have 230 and 240,000 miles on them. I like to keep my cars and I like to use them because it's the most sustainable behavior you can have to maintain your
Now,
vehicles.
mind you, one's a Honda, one's a Lexus.
That one's a Honda and one's a Volvo.
Oh, Volvo.
Yeah, because the Volvo has 200. Now the Honda has cost me very little to maintain. The Volvo, on the other hand, has been a higher level expense. But these are cars that will go 300, 400, 500,000 miles regularly because they're just very well built vehicles. Same with Toyota Camrys, Honda Accords, Lexus, as you mentioned. Very, very good quality cars. They will last a long time.
They just texted me back.
What's that?
I just got a text back.
Oh, from the. What does he say?
I said, maybe will you be picking up lunch this time? And they wrote back, okay, Ms. Linda, let's go to dinner together after playing tennis. I offer lunch. He upgrades me to dinner.
Bold move.
I'm Linda.
Bold move, Linda.
Wonder who he thinks I am. Maybe he thinks I'm Linda Carter.
Well,
it's a 310.
I think she's passed away.
Linda Carter? No. Wonder Woman?
Maybe no. I'm thinking of
Rosalind Carter.
No, yeah, Rosalind Carter.
Yeah, different Carter. Ray has a question. What do we think about the new 2024 Land Cruiser from Toyota that's going to be $50,000?
So it used to be that $50,000 was a lot of money, but $50,000 for a Land Cruiser is actually a pretty darn good price.
There it is.
It's a great looking vehicle. They're going to sell a ton of these cars, Ray, as you well know. I think it's a very well designed car overall. I don't think it's revolutionary in its overall visual design, but Toyota has always been a little more conservative with their vehicle design for their production cars. I think this is a much better alternative to the FJ series cars that they did that were a little quirky visually.
Now, my next question is that you talk about the Toyota, but then what about this one? That's the new Hyundai Santa Fe.
Oh, okay.
Look how gorgeous that is.
Yeah, again, Hyundai's done a great job of really leveraging design as part of their branding, and Hyundai and Kia together are doing a really good job. Back to Ray's $50,000 Toyota. I think they're going to sell a ton of these. I think they're going to be very popular, even more popular than the Ford Bronco. And wow. I actually think that Toyota's done a great job of continuing that market opportunity in that class, and they will probably have a greater, longer term sustainable model with that than Hyundai does with theirs.
Well, there you go. Now, the Santa Fe, I don't think is the same as the EV9 that Kia is coming out with, which is an electric version.
So I think they're shared platforms.
They are shared platforms. Is one going to be electric? I don't know. I haven't researched it up, but that is a good looking car.
Yeah, the Hyundai.
The Hyundai. I think the Toyota is too, but yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other questions. Stacy says that her Honda Accord has a lower safety rating and the insurance premium is higher, according to State Farm.
Okay, that's unusual
because Hondas are usually pretty safe.
Yeah, Honda has a 5-star safety rating unless she may have an older Honda. It would help to know what year Honda you have, but that would be unusual. Honda has a very high, or typically has a high safety rating. You know, one of the highest safety ratings for Honda, the Honda Fit.
Really?
The Honda Fit is a phenomenal automobile. For a small car, that's one of the safest small cars. Those things will take a hit, and the passenger cocoon actually survives.
A Fit hit.
Yeah. They're actually, but that's really unusual that it would have a higher insurance premium because of a lower rating.
Now, she is pointing out it's as old as her kid that drives it. Now, the kid might be the reason it's so much more expensive.
That's another thing, is that if they run the statistics on the age of your child and the age of the vehicle, and they run that through their statistical model, that's how they'll come up with the potential higher premium, insurance premium that you pay. So that may very well be.
Now we have another question real quick. I brought the picture back up. KDC Garage wants to know, is the H in the headlights coincidence or intentional shape? I would think that's done on purpose.
Well,
to make the H like that.
I would agree. I think the
from a design standpoint.
Yes, the front fascia is very, very important for signature and identification and brand recognition. So they oftentimes will use those as imprinting models because people will see them in the rearview mirror at night, and you can't really see the logo or the branding at night. So with modern LED technology, they're using it as a means for displaying. Same thing that you see on the back of cars where they illuminate now the red band that goes through that has the logo in it.
Yes. Now, yesterday on our Cars and Coffee group, we had one of the guys brought some old the place we're gonna go on Monday. It was a slow light.
Yes.
And if you think about this, it was an amber light that said SLO.
Right.
And when you took your foot off the gas, this was an aftermarket product, it would automatically light that up saying, hey, I'm slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
So you touch your brake lights come on.
Right.
You take your foot off the gas, this came on. And it said, it had some statistic in the little brochure. It's probably from the 50s that, it decreases the number of rear end collisions. Why have we never adopted that? That makes perfect sense to have, hey, I'm slowing down.
So the answer to the question is actually very interesting from a driving perspective and driving test perspective, because they have run models with visual information on the back of the vehicle. And what they find is that there's a higher level of distraction when too much is happening on the back of a car, because there are multiple vehicles in front of you on a highway. And if they're all slowing down to the point where they're coasting into some situation and all of that comes up, what it does, it creates a trickle-down effect behind you. People hit their brakes. And then so what it does is it actually causes a greater amount of traffic jams over a period of time.
Of course he would have the answer.
So they allow to not do it, and instead they use the brake lights as the alerting factor. And it's less amount of attention required, and it also has less trickle-down effect in highway conditions. Now in the 50s, you have 2-lane highway. That's a big deal. Highway conditions today, you have 6, sometimes 7 lanes for miles. Now you put the slow on some of that, and you get people crowding up by bunching their brakes up. By the time it gets down 10, 12, 15 cars, you get cars that are now slamming on their brakes, and that's potentially problematic, not to mention the string effect that it occurs.
All right.
So,
well, there you go. Of course, you always know.
Oh, I have a good memory, and I read up on that stuff. So,
all right. So gas prices. Now you can't look at the screen.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
let's guess ahead of time before I pull it up.
Okay.
So let me. We'll play the bumper that we haven't played.
How's our time too?
We only have. Oh, we're almost done. Wow. We'll do this and we'll end this. We'll do old school next week.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
How much is gas where you live?
All right. So what do you think? Who in the country has the cheapest gas prices right now?
I'm going to go cheapest gas price, Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Yep.
Cheapest diesel.
Oh, cheapest diesel is in Mississippi.
We'll do that. No.
Oh, cheapest
I don't know
diesel.
Yet. I'm asking.
Cheapest diesel, I'll go with Oklahoma.
All right. So if we go with regular, Oklahoma has the cheapest gas.
Oklahoma does this year.
$2.60.
$2.60.
And the cheapest diesel,
also
also Oklahoma.
Also,
so you got that right.
Wow. Okay.
$3.46.
Okay. For diesel, I was going to guess $3.29 for the cheapest, but it's $3.40. Okay. And actually, the cheapest gas at $2.60. $2.60. That's very cheap. Out here in California, we've got additional taxes, but we're
not in California.
I'm sorry, in Washington.
Yes.
Thank you very much. In Washington, we have significant gas taxes now, but we're up in the 4s.
Well, at the reserve or for diesel,
yeah,
yes, but at the the reservation gas station over there, it's $3.60 for regular gas.
For regular gas.
The average in the whole state is $4.09.
Yeah, for Washington.
California's the highest at $4.68. I mean, it was like $7-8 for a little while.
When I first arrived in California, I paid $3.89 a gallon. And when I left, I paid $4.49. So that's the level of fluctuation. I was only there for 15 weeks. So that's the level of pricing fluctuation.
Yeah, so gas has changed.
Yes, it has.
All right. Well, we're done. Ray did make it to the Mannheim Mech Shop. Praise Buddha, he says. Woo.
That's an achievement in your Mini Cooper.
Yes.
You know, they Cooper and Porsche actually worked together. This is not a joke. And they built a race car and they called it the Pooper. That is not a joke. Go ahead and look it up. You Google that.
Was it a real piece of shit?
No, it actually was competitive. It was a Pooper.
We don't actually have a new ending for our but thank you all for tuning in. We'll be here every Saturday. Linda, so yeah, he wants to have dinner now. What should I write back? I guess I'll write back, Linda, this is Frank.
Yes. Are we playing tennis or what?
Yeah. All right, I'll take dinner. I'll meet you there. Or do I just let it go? And now
he's wondering.
Linda has now ghosted him. Like, I wonder how often this happens.
Who knows?
Yes. All right, so we'll end with the old ending with the old guy washing his car.
All right.
But we will see you next week at this time.
Yeah.
And if you can like and share, that helps the algorithm.
Yeah. And by the way, happy Epiphany to everybody out there who celebrates Epiphany.
Okay.
Don't.
I don't know what an epiphany is. I've had an epiphany before.
All right.
Great to see you both again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone out there. Thanks, Jake.
And let's end this puppy. Bye, everybody.
See ya.